in. So Carly, welcome to the 20 something podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me. I just turned 30 in January. I am currently self-employed. I left corporate America in January for my 30th birthday. I am a mom. I adopted my niece when I was 22. I genuinely think that 20s are meant to adapt and learn adulthood, and then our 30s are meant to kind of mold what we've learned and continue progressing.
All right, well, we'll jump in. So Carly, welcome to the 20 something podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me. I look forward to an amazing opportunity to collab with Koko's World. So thank you so much, Gracie.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes,
So first and foremost, how old are you?
I am 30. I just
30.
turned 30 in
Just turned
January.
30.
How about you?
That's cool. I'm 25.
Oh, okay, great. I thought you were in your 30s as well.
No, we're middle of the 20s over here.
Girl, it's been a ride.
Yeah, so that's cool actually. So you just turned 30, so we can kind of look at the 20s fresh as a whole.
Yes.
So I'm really interested to hear more about you, where you're at right now, and then I would love to go back into your 20s and talk about how that shaped to get you where you are now.
Of course. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a great talking point. So I just turned 30 in January. Where am I at today? I am currently self-employed. I have how many years of education? I have a bachelor's and a master's.
Cool.
I have right at 10 years of work experience, but of course I left corporate America in January for my 30th birthday and have taken this avenue of entrepreneurship and just figuring out where life is going to bring me. I am a mom. Not naturally. I adopted my niece when I was 22.
Oh, wow.
We're 10 years apart, so having to figure out and navigate that lifestyle so young.
Yeah.
And then I got married at 29. I purposefully told myself, my partner and I have been together 11 years come October.
Wow.
So a long time. We've grown up together. But I purposely told myself I would not get married until my brain was fully developed at 26 and before 32. And if I didn't get married before 32, I wasn't getting married. Okay. So those were my stipulations.
Okay, well, it worked out.
So now I'm 30 and I've kind of checked off a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at now. I have a daughter in college. Like I said, I'm self-employed and I have a wife who is a chiropractor. So
okay,
yep.
Very cool. So when you say self-employed, what do you do?
That's a great question. So I have a dance company that I operate virtually and in person. It is here in Greenville, South Carolina, and we do all forms of dance, primarily twerking. It is known as Throw That Ass Wednesdays for Wednesday evenings, and then I have class on Saturday mornings. And then I also have a company, a business management company called Elite Empire. It is going through a transitional phase right now. I really thought I wanted to focus on small businesses and growth within that, but I realized that my true avenue and heart is in sports management. So working alongside agents to build athletes' portfolios for not just what they are today in the realm of sports, but what their plans are to leave their legacy behind. So
that's cool.
That's my vision for it.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. How the heck did you get into that? How did you decide that was your passion?
Girl, I don't even really know if it's still my passion. Okay. But we're going with it. Okay. I'm an Aquarius, so I kind of go with the flow, you know, wherever I'm feeling is where I feel. But I will share, at 18, right out of high school, near like first year of college, I decided to get my insurance license. And with that, my goal was to help people learn how to invest their money properly. I did 8 years in it. I liked it, but didn't love it. My passion wasn't in it. Well, I love sports, all things sports. My wife was a professional athlete. Just the hype and excitement in going to all different types of games, besides just drinking, but genuinely the energy that the games bring.
Yeah.
So I realized that a lot of people that are professional athletes, they, one, are not educated to do what, or have plans on what to do outside of the sport. So a lot of the times within 5 years of them retiring, they're broke or they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I realized what's the better plan than to bring my insurance world of investment knowledge, because I don't want to be their investor,
Yeah.
but just the investment knowledge and helping them build, I guess, never ending wealth through building businesses that they have passions for outside of just their brand of the sport that they're in.
Huh. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That
I
was a
love
mouthful, sorry.
No, it's
But-
okay. So you started work right after high school?
Yeah.
No college.
I went to college.
You went to
yes.
college.
I majored in information technology.
Okay.
My first job was not in IT at all.
Okay.
I worked for a German company and quickly realized burnout was a real thing. So then I switched over to healthcare, and that's where I spent majority of my professional career.
Okay.
I spent 8 years with the health system here as an operations manager for corporate, overseeing almost 600 different practices, and had a lot of burnout there. And then COVID happened. Unfortunately, was let go after COVID, which I say unfortunately, but it was a fortunate thing,
Right.
because I had no work-life balance.
Yeah.
And it taught me a lot at that time. I was actually 26. I had just turned 26. And then got my master's in the midst of working for the healthcare system, and then joined a government resource, thought that that was going to be better. Wasn't. Actually, it was a lot worse. But 2 years of doing that in financial analytics, and I realized, girl, you're not doing anything that you actually went to college for. So why follow your heart and your dreams and do something worthwhile that you actually have a passion for versus an education? Because one, I was living off of somebody else's dime of what they felt my worth was.
Yeah.
Which still was not helping me pay off my student loans.
Yeah, no.
And then second of all, I was like, I'm already living very minimum. Why not put my own worth and give myself a shot?
Yeah. Did you ever consider being an entrepreneur before that?
Yes. It's always been in my heart, but I was too afraid.
Okay.
Yes. And what sparked that is my wife opened up a chiropractic clinic here in the midst of COVID. And she was like, Carly, you have everything in you to do this. You're practically running my business for me. Why not run something that you actually love and that's yours? And so I told myself that I would get my daughter through high school and start of college and then just see what happens, the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what sparked the dance studio then?
Oh, that's a great question, right? Okay, so I spent 18 years as a competitive dancer.
Okay.
I grew up dancing. My career ended quickly. My senior year of high school, I was in a horrible, tragic accident. I was hospitalized for 14 days. I had to be homeschooled the rest of my senior year. So with that, I never received closure.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, I did cheer, but cheering and dancing are two different things. I personally still believe cheerleaders are the mean girls of society. And I never really fit in with it. So it was something that gave me temporary happiness, but not fulfillment. And then during COVID, in the midst of working all the time, I started doing YouTube dance classes, and it really helped my mental. And I was like, actually, more adults, especially women, we need this. Just an outlet. We love going to the club. The clubs are not open right now.
Yeah.
So why not offer this? And so I started it in 2021, and
so
it's just slowly has grown.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did that on the side while you were still working in
Yes.
corporate America.
Yeah.
And then this past January, you just quit that
Yes,
altogether.
altogether.
What was the most challenging part of making that decision?
What my family would think of me.
Okay.
Being the overachiever in my family. I am the only child on my dad's side. My mom, I have an older sister. And they put a lot of pressure of me, like going to college, and that's the way of life, and that's how you're going to make it in life, and you need to have insurance, and, just all the adult things.
Yeah.
And I did it. I tried it, but but it just wasn't for me. So my mom, to this day, we still kind of have spats where she's like, can you please just apply for a job? And I'm like, but I'm comfortable. I'm living fine. You know, like I've minimized myself, my finances, my budget is great. I'm okay, you know? But she also is used to, she just feels, and I think it comes from an age gap where, you know, I don't know how old your parents are, but my parents are north 50, close to 60 retirement. And their generation, you know, they graduate high school, work, and then retire. You know, that's all they know. And our generation is kind of more so, let's retire by the time we're 25 and live our best life.
Right. Which is a blessing and a curse. Because we're hustlers, but then if we're not where we want to be by 25, we're like, oh, we're failures when really.
And I hit that too.
Yeah. I'm kind of at that point right now.
Girl, you're far from
I'm like,
it.
I know I'm good, but I'm also like, is this really it? But like, I feel like kind of how you mentioned you were afraid of failure, so you waited so long. Same with like that generation is when you're so used to a W-2 and the 401k match and the stable insurance, it's really hard to let go of that and go jump in. Even if you believe in the back of your mind, like I could do this for myself, it's still super daunting to be like, oh, that's not going to be there anymore.
Are we really going to be able to do this?
You're right. There's no security.
Yeah.
Like if I fall, it's on me. Nobody's catching me.
Yep. I will honestly say I think the biggest wake up is understanding the market. And like I say, I always will be grateful for my experience in learning insurance and investment because I worked 8 years with this health system. They matched our 401k. I have a really decent 401k.
Yeah.
But also when COVID happened, everybody's 401ks dropped, you know? So when I got furloughed, I'm like, I can't fall back on this because literally right now I am broke. I have to wait until they can put that money back, and it could take up to 7 years, you know? And I'm like, am I going to sit here and just depend on that, or the fear of waiting until retirement and then there's nothing there, you know? And then I've literally wasted my whole life living out of fear. So I'm like, I'm damn if I do, damn if I don't. So I might as well do it.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little bit rebellious too.
Yeah, I don't like to be told what to do. I'm going to do what I want
Maybe
to
that's
do.
the Aquarius thing.
Yeah. No, I get that. So, okay, your 20s, you were 22 and you adopted your niece. Were you still in college? Were you out of college? What did that look like?
Wow. I had just graduated in May of that year, and then I adopted her in September.
Okay.
So it was hard. I had no job actually other than insurance. So insurance is 1099 as well.
Right.
So I was working commission only, just straight out of college.
So you were selling insurance?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. I changed very quickly from like every weekend going out, living for Friday nights, being in the city and just wanting to get plastered, to be honest, to wait, I have social workers coming to my house. I have to literally throw away. I literally asked my neighbors if they would babysit my alcohol just so that I didn't have to throw away expensive liquor, just to approve for social workers once a month to come to my house. Because that's how it was for about 9 months until I could fully close the case and do the adoption process.
Wow.
And legally I signed as her legal guardian, but I did not fully adopt her because it was going to be $40,000. And at 22 years old, I did not have that.
Oh my gosh.
But I also didn't want to run into the risk of her getting thrown into foster care because she was 11 years old.
Yeah.
So it was a really thin, tricky time. We survived. I look back now and I'm like, with no government assistance, no assistance at all financially with her, honestly, it was the grace of God. Truth be told.
Yeah.
Because nothing else would have done it for us.
Yeah.
I had one bed. I gave her my bed, and I slept on the floor for like 6 months until I got a job and was able to pay for myself to get a bed.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So kind of walk me through that process. So for 6 months you were doing that, and then was it just like, I need to get out of insurance? What was your like what was the span of different switches and stuff that you had to take at that age to figure out how the heck am I gonna raise a kid?
Yeah. So, okay, just to give you a little bit of backstory, I have a sister that's mentally ill. She's 10 years older than me, which is my niece's mom.
Okay.
So my mom is pretty much her power of attorney, and she takes care of my sister.
Okay.
And it was at a place where I didn't want. It was at a place where my mom physically couldn't take care of my niece and her mom as well because of my sister's state of mind, she couldn't be around her daughter.
Okay.
So that was also taxing as a family because, you know, my mom having to see me kind of be the one that tears everything apart because I got called on a like Wednesday afternoon. My niece got out of school at 3:15 and I had 15 minutes to go pick her up or she was going to foster care.
Dang.
So that was like, okay, my house isn't even prepped. I don't even have groceries. I actually don't even have money to get groceries to like feed us.
Yeah.
I called my girlfriend at the time. She was in chiropractic school and she was like, I'll just take an additional student loan out to kind of get us started so that we can kind of fake it to make sure that she's good, you know? So having social workers come in, having to like appear to be mature enough to take care of a kid who I'm not even mature enough at this time to take care of myself.
Right. Yeah.
Going to court hearings, having to talk to people. My anxiety and stress was at its ultimate high. And what really took my breaking point was that I could not live every week trying to just pray on a commission check when some weeks, like my niece was also really traumatized. So she had different therapies she had to go to. So it was a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like just being a mom,
Yeah.
you know? So I was like, I have to get something a little bit more stable. And that's when I started working for the company based out of Europe.
Okay.
And the hours there was very stressful because obviously they were 6 hours ahead of me.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of nights, no sleep. And I would get up, take her to school, take me like a 2-hour nap, and then get on the computer to continue working.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dang. Yeah, that's so interesting to hear because people start having kids in their 20s.
Yeah.
But not an 11-year-old kid.
No.
You know, you get pregnant at 22. Cool. Whether it was planned or not, you got 9 months to figure it out and get your shit together.
Not
you had 15 minutes.
Right. Right.
How do you think that shaped the rest of your 20s?
Oh, it shaped it completely. I had plans to like go try out for an NBA dance team and kick back my dancing career. Did not happen, but I also had wanted to go and further my education because I honestly thought that my education was what was going to get me paid more money. That did happen. I ended up going to George Washington University. But I also think that it matured me in great ways because working in healthcare is very political. And the position that I was blessed to end up getting, I worked with our president, the CEO of the health system. I met weekly with our governor. Like there was a lot of, I would say, big dog responsibilities that I don't feel they would have taken me serious if I would not have put on there, like, listen, I'm a mom, not to like a 6-month-old. I'm a mom to a freaking 11, 12, 13-year-old, okay? If I can handle her, I can handle anything you put on my plate. And then a lot of times they would just trust me, and then I overly proved myself. But I would say if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Because one, she saved me in ways that she would never, ever realize. While in the same works, I was saving her. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's actually incredible that you did that.
yeah.
I commend you for that.
Thank you. And if I could add one more thing,
Yeah.
I would say I also had a straight reflection of someone looking at me on every angle, you know, of life. So it was very important for me to make sure, quote unquote, I had my shit together because now she's experiencing, we talk about this all the time. She's 19, you know, she's 2.5 years away from the age I was adopting her. And I'm like, you know, I'm so proud of I wish that she would start dating low key. But like, I'm so proud of her having strong standards and being like, listen, my mom had nothing and she still gave me everything. I'd be damned if I just settle for less,
Oh,
you know?
for sure.
So I look back and I'm like, well, you know what? It was very minimum and I had a lot of growing pains and I sacrificed a lot, but I'm so proud that she also is changing and, you know, canceling a generational curse, you know, that we had amongst us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love that for her.
Thank you.
My little sister is the same way. She's 20 and she isn't dating. She's like, no, I have a list. And
Yeah.
if they're not checking that list, I'm not interested.
See? Girl power.
Yeah. What would you say is like the most valuable thing you learned in your 20s?
Ooh,
Or one of them?
it too shall pass. It's going to pass. You know, we all think, like you said earlier, we have to have it figured out in our 20s. We have so much life ahead of us. And I genuinely think that 20s are meant to adapt and learn adulthood. And then our 30s are meant to kind of mold what we've learned and continue progressing.
Yeah.
So it's everything that comes your way, dating, you know, jobs, money. Money is so transactional. Like, that too shall pass too. You're not gonna be broke forever,
Right.
you know, and you're not gonna be in credit card debt forever. And if you are, so be it. Like, you know, it's gonna pass.
Yeah,
So-
I would definitely agree with that.
What would you say so far now that you're half a century, like
Dang.
25? What would you say?
I would say, I mean, kind of similar. I did an episode when I turned 25, and the 24 year it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was great, but it was a lot. There was a lot happened. And I kind of just realized that it's not that serious. Because I very type A. I put a lot of pressure on myself. And it's not what you're doing at 22. You don't have to do that for the rest of your life. And I was very set in stone on like, well, I had this goal, so I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to quit. But it's actually the goal adapting, not you quitting on the goal.
I love
and that
that.
was something I had to learn very quickly during that time because I like had completely lost sight of me and what I was working towards. And it was because I was trying so hard to be who I was at 22 instead of who I am at 24, 25. So I would probably say that like it's okay to pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 25's been the best year yet so far, knock on wood. So hopefully we keep going in that direction.
25 was great for me too.
Yeah.
I started having like a midlife crisis, I would say, at 26.
Okay.
Because I ran into that exact same thing of feeling like I'm not where I thought I wanted to be. I'm not doing anything that actually resonates with me.
Yeah.
But I've went to college for this, so I need to make this work.
Yeah.
And I was like, now, thank God to therapy too. But
Yeah.
I'm like, Carly, we all are meant to change, evolve, grow.
Yeah.
So why are you putting yourself on stipulations? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And that was one thing I was blessed to always kind of know because both my parents do completely different things than what they went to school for.
I love that.
And they're both in the entrepreneurial world.
Wow, okay.
So I always knew, like, my dad is an English major. He is like a regional director of a medical sales company now. My mom was a music, like opera major, and she's an interior designer. So I always in the back of my head was like, okay, I'm going to get a degree, but like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
I will be able to figure something out regardless, which is a big blessing. But I had the midlife crisis at 24. Kind of like, I moved here when I was 23. 6 months later, I turned 24. And in that realm, I was like, oh, actually, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
And then it took me a whole year to figure out that's okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Definitely okay. What was your turning point?
A lot of stuff for me has always revolved around fitness and health, because that's what I work in. And I remember January of 2024, right before I turned 24, I was like, oh, I'm not really happy with the way that I look. So I'm going to like get back on 75 hard. And I did. And then I actually ended up doing the whole year because I also, if I say I'm going to do something, I can't not do it.
Right.
So I told myself I was going to do it. I ended up doing the whole thing. I probably wouldn't have if I was in a different mindset then, but I did the whole 75 hard. I was miserable the whole time. I had done it twice in the past, loved it, changed my life the first time. The third time I did it, I was miserable because I was trying to be that 22-year-old version of myself.
Yes.
And it wasn't until August of 2024 that it kind of started, the wheel started turning. And I was like, something's very different. All of a sudden, I don't really care what other people think of me. I don't really care about who I was at 22. And then September, October, I lost 2 grandparents back to back. And that was kind of that everything all at once was
Yeah.
like, oh, it really doesn't matter. And I that just made me think about the value of life and the purpose that we have here. It's not about what I looked like when I was 22. It's about what I was doing to impact other people and how that made me feel.
Yeah.
And that was like those 3 months was when I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine. Like I need to put that in the past and move forward because we can't keep doing that.
So did you go to school? I heard you say you moved here. So did you go to college, and where are you from?
So I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I went to school in Wisconsin, go Badgers. And I moved here a year and a half after I graduated
So is your family here?
college. No. They're on their way though. They're
Okay.
moving here this summer actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you impact them to
I
move here?
did, yes.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I'm very excited. But yeah, I kind of always knew that I needed something more.
Yeah.
I'm from a very small town in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Everybody knows everybody.
Okay.
Which was a blessing. I have great childhood friends, but I always felt like there's got to be more than this.
Yeah.
And why would I live my whole life not knowing anything different? And it took me a while because I was in a relationship at that time and all good terms, but he didn't want to go anywhere. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just stay. And then finally I was like, I can't, like, I gotta go. So that ended. And then 6 months later, I got in my car and I drove here. I didn't know a single person.
Wow.
I did not have a job and I just came.
That is so beautiful. Like, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, now, like, look at you. Look, I mean, I don't know if you, I'm hoping you know people now.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know me.
Yeah. No, the thing about Greenville, I always tell people is I'm sure other cities are like this and people advocate for their cities, but this city has such great community.
Yeah.
I feel so blessed.
Yeah.
Like I met my roommate on Facebook. She is my closest friend here. I have another roommate now. We're like a trio. We go nowhere without each other. I have great friends, great coworkers, great community. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Greenville. And that's what, I mean, I'm grateful and I'm so blessed to call this home. Like this, I was raised here. But that has been the hardest part of leaving.
Yeah.
Is like the community here is like no other. And even when I'm traveling and people are like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, Greenville, South Carolina. And they're like, oh my gosh, that little quaint town is so sweet
Yes.
and so nice. And I'm like, oh, I'm like a proud mom.
It
you know?
is. It is, but it feels so good because even coming from where you know everybody, it's scary.
Yes.
But within 6 months, I was like, no, this is it. That was the right decision.
Well, you also give me encouragement because right now I'm going to a place where I know nobody.
Yeah.
And here I can be at a grocery store and they're like, hey, Carly, what are you up to? And now I go to grocery stores and I'm like a fish in a big pond. So I'm still learning my way, but I'm really excited for what it has to offer, you know, the new adventure. And I'm only an hour and a half away from home.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You're in Charlotte.
Yes.
What made you decide to go to Charlotte?
My wife's job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Solely her job.
Yeah.
I like it. It is definitely different. It's more diverse, I will say. Greenville is still a little behind on some things. Great community, but the people that are here don't want to change, you
Yeah.
know? So that's the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah.
So I'm praying that more people will move here and the culture will kind of shift a little bit. But always I want it to continue to keep its home feeling. But I do like how Charlotte, like, you can be anybody you want to be and you're going to find your tribe, you know? So that's been nice.
Yeah. Have you ever lived anywhere other than Greenville? Yeah, I think it's so awesome to go live somewhere you've never lived before.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I'm embracing it.
Yeah.
Really, I am.
Embrace it.
And my wife says that we will make it to the West, out West. She originally she had took a job in Chicago. And I was like, with Khalees becoming a freshman in college, I just genuinely feel like this is going to be too much of a culture shock. I think I was speaking for myself with that. But now looking back and I'm like, okay, we've taken this leap to Charlotte. Charlotte feels so much like home. Maybe we should take another leap a little bit further that doesn't feel like home, you know, so that I can just learn.
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable, but that's where you grow. I'm a huge advocate for people moving away from their hometowns for a little bit.
Okay.
And if you want to go back, like,
It's always there.
go back.
Yeah.
That's what I always said. I mean, my family's coming here, so I can't go back. I could on my own, but I won't. But that was like, I just told myself that over and over. I'm like, if this doesn't work out, they are still here.
Yep.
You can go back and you will be fine. And it didn't work, try something else.
Yeah.
Like, it's just telling you that's not your place. But you also don't know if it is your place.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know if you didn't try.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Now, so how was that transition with being from Wisconsin? My dad lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And he spoke about how culturally different it was compared to Greenville, South Carolina. So being from Wisconsin and now living in Greenville, how do you feel?
Yeah, so you guys are very much proper down here. We're not, especially because I'm from a small town. Like,
So proper, I'm telling you. Is
I mean, I get called ma'am. I'm 25 years old. So that was weird to me. I feel like though Greenville is such a melting pot that it wasn't like straight Southern culture, but bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, that's weird or that's different. And then getting told, like, people will tell me I have an accent, which I've never been told before
I don't
in
hear
my
your
life.
accent.
Thank
but-
you. It's when I say things like bag,
Okay, yeah.
like
There it
that.
goes.
It's definitely dwindled down a little bit, but I actually couldn't get away with talking at all to anybody without them being like, "Are you from the Midwest?" I'm like, "Yeah." But yeah, I think you guys are just a lot more proper than we are, and it's also like small town living versus Greenville is. I mean, I'm from a town of like 9,000 people.
Wow.
Versus Greenville is what, 80,000?
Yeah, I have no clue, but
I
a
don't know.
lot.
It's a lot. So that's a big shift as well, but a good one.
Good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, okay. 75 hard. I'm so happy that you said your third round was a little bit more challenging because this is my third year. I just finished on Sunday.
Okay.
And I usually kick it off every year after my birthday. And I was like, I don't know if it's because I've hit 30. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on. But this was the hardest 75 hard that I experienced. Now, I will say I was moving. So a lot of that does change because my body was a lot of days. I was really, really fatigued. But maybe it was just a third year round.
I also think that because, for me at least, because I knew I could do it, it wasn't as important to me as it was the first time I did it.
Maybe that's it.
Like the first time I did it, I was like gun ho.
Yeah.
I wasn't missing a beat.
Yeah.
Nothing was off, like even close. I was like tweaking if I was even close to being off of something. Whereas the third time, I had to like talk myself down so many times. I'm like, okay, yeah, but you're doing it again. It doesn't matter if you've already completed it. The point of it is to be disciplined, Grace. So you do have to drink those extra 10 ounces of water, you know? Like, I'd get to the end of the day, I'm like, it's fine. It probably was a gallon. And then I'd go back and be like, that's not the point.
Right.
So that was what was so hard for me. And then also trying to compare to when I did it the first time.
Yeah.
And how much it changed my life at that point.
See, so many people were like, Carly, you're making it look like a breeze. And I'm like, and maybe it was because I've done it so many times. I'm like, guys, you just schedule your day, check off the boxes, and you're done.
Yeah.
You know, even if it takes you until 11 p.m., you get it done before midnight.
Right.
You know, but it was very challenging.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but I've done an extension. So I finished 75 hard.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, I'm liking the way I'm feeling, and I don't want to have any alcohol, but I'm not missing Cinco de Mayo. So,
That's my sister's 21st birthday.
oh, yeah, that calls for a good margarita. But I'm not missing Cinco de Mayo. So I'm like, listen, we're going to extend it to May 1st.
Okay.
But I'm not doing 75 hard. I'm just going to do
Right.
75 soft.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing about 75 hard for me was just the regimented routine. And about halfway through the third time, I was like, I don't need to be on this program. I just need to have a routine that I am disciplined enough within myself to complete without being told within these parameters. And that's kind of like the theme of the whole Live Hard year for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to complete this because I said I was going to. And knowing myself, if I don't do it now, I'm going to feel guilty and I'm going to have to do it another time. And I don't want to do it another time. So let's just do it now.
Yeah.
But towards the end, I was like, okay, literally the whole point of this for me is I just need routine.
Yeah.
I just need non-negotiable tasks that I do every day regardless and move on with my life, you know?
And I think that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Like, if I have a year where I'm like, okay, I had a fallback year, let's get back on routine. But I am a very disciplined person. I function off a regimen anyways, like everything from my skincare. My wife always says, Carly, you're the most consistent person I've ever met. Consistency works with my soul, you know? So now that I know what I need. I know that I need structure. And I know, like you said, I need a certain list of things that I have to do every single day.
Yeah.
I don't think I will be seeing 75 hard again for a very long time.
Yeah.
Talk to me in like 5 years, but I need a break.
Right. Yeah. I think if you've never done it, I think it's amazing.
Definitely.
I don't think I need it anymore. So I'm on the same
Have
page as
you not done it since your 25th birthday? 26th? No, 25th.
So I finished the Live Hard year in February.
Wow.
So I've been done since February and I'm good
Congratulations.
for a while. Thank you.
A whole 365 days.
Yeah. And the second phase was I lost my grandpa, Hurricane Helene happened, and then my grandma died. All during phase 2.
Wow.
I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to finish this. But that just kind of helped me realize how much a routine keeps your head above water. Because if I wasn't on 75 hard during that time, I think I would have just completely shut down and let go of all of the things that were important to me to just coast.
Yeah.
But it made me stay here, which was a blessing.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Now, I do have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
What is something that you wish someone told you about your 20s before you're now here?
That the timeline you think about when you're in high school does not exist.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
You do not have to graduate college by 22. You do not need to have your dream job by 23. You do not need to be married by 25. You do not need to be having kids by 27. Like when I was 16, I was like, oh, this will be good. I'll get my job after college. I'll get married and then I'll have 2 kids before I'm 30. Yeah, well, I'm not even close to any of that. So, and thank God. Thank God. So, yeah, I think that would be the most important thing is like there's actually no timeline. There's no parameters that you need to follow in your 20s.
So what is it that you actually do, and is it something that you went to college for?
Yeah, so I have a degree in health science, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody. That you can't do shit with health science degree besides being a personal trainer.
My daughter.
Yeah. Unless you get like a specialization, but essentially what happened was I was going to be a dietitian. I wanted to be like sports dietetics.
Love that.
COVID happened when I was a junior in college. So everything shut down. you can't do clinicals when you're in COVID. So I actually took a semester off, went back to school online, and could only get like a health science degree. And at that point, I was like, I need to be done. I can't do this anymore. So I got a health science degree, got personal training certified. So now I am a personal trainer in person remotely. And then I do nutrition consulting as well. And then I also do the social media marketing for the gym I work at.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a mix of a lot of
I do
things.
a lot of things.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself doing this when you graduated?
No.
Okay.
When I graduated college or high school?
College.
No. College, I worked for First Form.
Okay, yes.
Yes, I was Legionnaire, and that was my plan. And I was super stubborn. I was like, I am not working for anybody else. I'm running this business. I am doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I was good at it.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time to build it to where I could have just done that after college. So I needed a little bit of reality check. Like, hey, you actually do need to make money after you graduate school, so you can't just do this. And I was lucky enough to get a remote job after that and stay a Legionnaire, but then there was like conflict of interest and all that, and then I transitioned into what I do now. So I thought I would be in the nutrition and fitness space, but more so on my own terms.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So now that you're halfway through your 20s, what has helped you define success?
So I was just talking to my roommate about this, actually. I think obviously success has tiers, so
Yes.
it's different for everybody. You know, one person's vision is not the same as
Agreed.
yours. But for me personally, success is happiness, good health, and time. Like that, all of those things to me is freedom, and freedom to me is success.
Yes.
So being in a position where I am meeting my financial goals, meeting my health goals, meeting my personal goals, I guess all 7 dimensions of wellness.
Yes.
And I'm moving in an upward trajectory.
Yes. I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
How do you deal with pressure to have it all figured out? I know that you said your parents are more entrepreneur route now, so there was no pressure there, I'm assuming. But do you have ever like just internal pressure or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm my worst critic.
Same.
I'm super hard on myself to the point where it's like not healthy. And I've gotten a lot better. Like I said, I went through that transition between 24 and 25 where I had to let go of like who I was. Because when I was 22, that was one of the better versions of myself. I would say now is my favorite version, but at 22, I was incredibly disciplined. I was in the best shape of my life. I was very happy. So kind of letting go of that helped me stop being so hard on myself. But also realizing like everybody else is in the same boat in some capacity.
Correct.
And I started opening my perspective to a variety of people and not just people my age that are deemed successful. And I started listening to entrepreneurs talk about their 20s. And I started talking to more people about their 20s. I started doing this podcast and I was like, oh, okay, actually I'm fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I love that you say that because I also deal with this because we are now in a society of like mega influencers and people in their mid to late 20s just becoming multimillionaires out of nowhere. How do you ever process that, or how do you deal with that?
I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I think that is so cool. And I've just always had this belief that if I want something, I can have it. So I know that one day I'm going to be completely financially free. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just
Right.
going to kind of do what I'm doing. And, you know, one person's success doesn't mean I can't be successful.
Correct.
So awesome for them, whatever the heck they're doing. What can I learn from it? How can I adapt that to what I'm doing? And then I'm just going to do that day by day, learn, evolve. And I know down here it's going to happen. I'm just going to get there eventually,
Yes.
you know?
No, I love that train of thought. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the same thing I think about. I love the saying, let people be great. And I love that for
Yeah.
them. I'll say that all the time. And people will be like, Carly, are you being sarcastic? And I'm like, no, I genuinely mean like whatever is working for that person, let them be great. Let them live their truth in this time because I know eventually my time will come, you
Yeah.
know, but what I want may look different than what they want. And that's the reason why they have what they have right now, you
Yeah.
know? So I always wondered, because I don't get to talk to a lot of people that are in like this arena of podcast,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial route that's not more traditional. And so I've always just thought like, what are your thoughts? So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. And then what is one piece of advice you'll give to someone struggling to find their purpose in this stage of life?
I would say surround yourself with people that make you feel good.
Yes.
I know that's so simple, but if you are around people that don't bring you any value, you don't feel like yourself around them, you're just going to kind of sink into what they're doing.
Correct.
And your purpose isn't there.
Yes.
So I was so blessed moving here and having the people that I've met become my people that I knew my purpose, but it was just like it grew exponentially when I started surrounding myself with them and being able to be uplifted by them.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is so important. Your village is definitely like just as important as your overall wellness, you know? Because if you're around people that are just negative Nancy's or are jealous of you, they can also tear you down and stunt your growth or stunt you from being able to reach the goals that you've set.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yes, that is so true.
So, yeah, I love it. All right. We good?
I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Do you have any closing thoughts for the 20-somethings listening?
Yeah, I would say in your 20s, you're going to go through highs and lows. But like I shared earlier, everything will pass. You do not have to have it all figured out. And the most important thing is, even if you feel so alone in the world, there are other people that are in the exact same place you are and that you are continuously loved. I think if more people remembered how loved they are, that it may not be millions of people that love you, but you have that one person, even if it's just a friend or a dog, someone loves you.
Yeah.
Someone or something loves you.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing. And that's what Koko's World, try to share with everyone, is that you have to remember you're loved, because with love, you can conquer all things.
Yeah. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you so much for having me and collabing today.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you would like to share with Koko's World?
I guess I would just say, like I've mentioned before, like if there's something that you really want to do, I totally believe you can have it as long as you believe it and you go after it.
Yes, I love that.
All right.
Endless opportunities.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that was so fun.
Yeah, it was. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
this was
of
awesome and
course.
so authentic.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.